And now, it's time for the Spirit Campfire, starring Ted Nugent and John Brinkus. It's the show about the physics of spirituality with attitude.
Hey, at the Milan Drag Strip. Sunday, fire-breathing all-American horsepower and Detroit iron. We're going to roast marshmallows with the flames coming off your headers. Hi, John. It's Uncle Ted, and I retain very positive spirit and attitude in spite. There's a military term that I'm not going to use because we have a lot of young people that join us. In fact, John, you're one of the young people. This is a royal cluster going on in this country, but look at the smile on my face. You know what? Don't
Uncle Ted, listen.
Sure, I live the American dream. Go ahead and crucify me. Welcome everybody to the Spirit Campfire.
First of all, you know what, Ted? I think you broke the golden rule of saying the word Sunday when and you were referring to automobiles in some way. It's not Sunday. It's Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Sunday, the Milan Drag Strip, where Uncle Ted will be running down the strip naked. You can cook marshmallows coming off the flames from his ass. He's special.
That's
I got you smiling. I got you laughing. That's the only reason you like me, John, because no matter how crazy the world gets, I bring humor no matter what.
No matter what. In crazy world, what are you even talking about, dude? All I can visualize is roasting marshmallows on Ted Nugent's ass. What's better than that?
I would erase that. I would purge that from your very being as soon as possible.
I'm trying.
But if I could start off, number one, it's good to be back with you, John. And we got, why does it say Dash? Is that his name, Dash Wong, or is that a dish down at the
dude, we got we got G-Dub had to take the night off, and he trained up Dash Wong, and you have not met Dash yet. Dash has an incredible story. You're going to meet Dash. Our audience is going to meet Dash. You're going to love this story.
Well, I do have a story to start out with tonight. Number one, thank you, John, for inviting me and helping me create this Spirit Campfire, because all campfires are very special. And anybody out there, I have a funny feeling that most people tuning in that Ted Nugent is involved, they already well understand the spirit of campfires. But here's a little Uncle Ted tech tip for all you newcomers to this electronic campfire. You must step back in life. In fact, right now, 2020, June of 2020, boy, are these words of wisdom or what? Step back in your life every day, at least for a moment. In fact, my wife, Shemaine, is going to join us in a little while, and she's got this killer book called 4 Minutes a Day to Happy. If you just take a breath today, because a lot of people are going through frustrations, a lot of people are witnessing some pretty ugly cultural suicide going around and stuff that is hard to understand. So this Spirit Campfire represents something that is already ingrained in the Nugent family and pretty much everybody I know. Now, Jason Hartless, the world's greatest drummer, and Greg Smith, the world's greatest bass player, and the world's greatest crew, and the world's greatest team. A campfire with your family and friends. Do your damnedest to carve it out at least once a week. And there's probably some cities out there where the ordinance won't allow you to have a campfire, but somehow you need to go to your uncle's farm or maybe to the state park or down to the local park, the local river, the local campsite, and just get some newspaper and some kindling and some matches. Gather your friends around as that sun is going down and start a fire. I think, John, that's what we are succeeding at here. People have expressed that they feel there's a connection, a camaraderie, a human connection that we call the physics of spirituality with attitude. But I want to thank everybody. People have been coming on my Facebook by the millions saying that they feel that spirit and that they are realizing they need to pursue campfires in their own life more often. And if you can't start a fire someplace, be sure you do it legally and you don't hurt anybody's personal property. But if you can't start a campfire somewhere, just a gathering around the family table. It doesn't happen as often as it needs to happen, John. And I was growing up outside of Detroit, well, in Detroit from 1948 to 1965. And we had dinner every night around the dinner table, and we talked about certain things, and we had an exchange, and we retained that family spirit. So the Spirit Campfire that we're creating here isn't just a fun little electronic communication source, though it accomplishes that to a great degree. But I think it's a reminder from the feedback I'm getting that people are realizing even a few minutes, if just a few minutes in between work and in between the meals and taking care of your family and taking care of your mortgage and taking care of your lawn, I think we need to, and remember who's saying this, I am the Motor City Madman. If I can figure this out, anybody can. You need to find either a literal campfire in your life or a figurative circle of family and friends to open up to each other. And I think that will go a long way in curing some of the friction and some of the pain, no matter what the origins of that pain are. I think it's time now more than ever in my 71 and a half years.
Yeah. You know, what's really interesting is, you know, on the Spirit Campfire, we've had this overwhelmingly positive response. And I was sharing with you earlier today, Ted, when we were talking on the phone, people are almost shocked and surprised. Those who don't know Ted Nugent, who haven't been, you know, dealing with Ted Nugent and watching Ted Nugent throughout your incredible career, people are like, oh my God, he's so civil and so honorable and so nice and so kind and so generous. And
if I wasn't, my dad would have kicked my ass.
Exactly. I'm like, I know it's hilarious. If you were telling me earlier about how, you know, you'll run into somebody and a manager will say, you know, don't do a show with Ted Nugent. And I'm like, dude, he's the nicest, kindest guy. And, you know, the picture that has been painted is very different than the reality. And this campfire is just a great way of us all sitting around, rising above it all and saying, look, we all need to come together. Positive energy begets positive energy. We are not here to preach politics or make you think a certain way. We're here to make sure that your spirit is lit and that you are connected to the world, legitimately connected through the spirit world. And that's why it's the Spirit Campfire. You know, I feel so honored to be with Ted and to be able to have dialogue with him. And, you know, it's really, really special. And tonight's show, we're going to have a lot of people from the audience. So make sure you click on the Zoom link that's on Ted's Facebook page. It's on the YouTube page. If you have any technical problems at all with Facebook, there's a YouTube link. We're also streaming live on YouTube. We're on Grunt Style. We're on Kill Cliff. We're all over the place. So you can definitely find the show. We're also going to be sharing some photos. I asked Ted's manager to send us some photos that a lot of people haven't seen. So you're going to be treated to some photos and some backstories that you probably have never heard before. And we're also going to be promoting, and I really want to tee up, the show on Thursday is going to be amazing. We are going to have the one and only Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top. Mr. ZZ Top himself is going to be on the show on Thursday. And that's going to be a campfire unlike anything you've seen.
Well, I guarantee it. You know, I have so many great friends and such an incredible bond, a musical bond, that I can't repeat enough. I mean, redundancy works when you really repeat things that make you feel good and that positive energy. You can't over repeat positive energy. And Billy Gibbons, I reached out to my buddy Pablo Gamboa, who started out as the tour manager for the damn Yankees with Tommy and Michael and Jack and I. And we did a lot of shows with a lot of great bands, and I could go on listing the bands. I mean, the first North American tours for AC/DC and Def Leppard. I mean, everybody, Blackfoot, and so many, Journey and Heart and Aerosmith and Van Halen and Foreigner, Bad Company. I've performed with so many just earth-shattering virtuosos and talented musicians. But Billy Gibbons and I, we represent all those bands that I mentioned that came directly from the Chuck Berry, Bo Diddley, Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis, founding fathers of American rhythm and blues and soul music that morphed from gospel and the blues. And of course, I don't think there's anybody out there, especially since the passing of Stevie Ray Vaughan, who I've also been just moved to jam with. And if I have anything meaningful to say on the guitar, it's because I've sponged the spirit and sponged the visions and the voices of all these amazing musicians. But what Billy and I can do is delve into the origins of all meaningful electric guitar music, because he and I were both born. I was born a year before him, and he respects his elders, by the way. He will show that on Thursday. So when I reached out to him, I said, we're going to celebrate our founding fathers, Howlin' Wolf, Mose Allison, Lightning Hopkins, all these inspirational musicians of such soul, emotion, and authority, he immediately got back with me and went, I'm in. I got a new book I'd like to tell everybody about, and how. And he'd like to celebrate those musical origins. So that will be a special campfire. He's a great, great guy.
He really is. And I want to make sure and send everybody, one way to start your own campfire is to get the Spirit Campfire merchandise. If you go to the spiritcampfirestore.com or even the spiritcampfire.com, look at this shirt that I'm wearing. Look at this good looking shirt. That's a logo. Ted Nugent said, I want an eagle coming out of a fire being patriotic. This is what we got. It is an amazing shirt. So go to the spiritcampfire.com. Also, Ted Nugent is one of a kind special hat that's on sale at tednugent.com. He's got a red cap. I can't say what it says on it.
Re-elect that mofo. Re-elect that. Yes. It's a bit of a political statement, yes.
Exactly. We can't say what it says, but go online to tednugent.com. Make sure you buy the hat. I wanted to kick off the show tonight with a photograph that was sent by Ted's manager, because I said, send me some good photographs that the audience hasn't seen a lot of, and that's going to really sort of get Ted telling a story. And this was the first one that came up.
Yes, that in case anybody's confused, your eyes do not deceive you, but it's something I'm very used to, and that is a buffalo between my legs. Yes,
that's exactly
right. What that is. It is a hoary beast.
So tell us about this. Tell the story, because I got a little bit of the backstory through the email. But how in the world did you ride a buffalo on the stage?
And can you see all the snot coming out of Chief's mouth? Is that beautiful? He and I, we basically had a drool contest every night to see who could create the most foam. And he won. He won every night. Well, John, this is such a phenomenal story. And I think I'm the only guy that has this story. So I've hunted with the Native Americans all across this country. And as I stated before, when I unleashed the song Great White Buffalo, I didn't write it. I didn't contemplate lyrics. I didn't contemplate a story. Just purely inspired by the spirit of what Rob Grange and Vic Mastriani and I did in that studio as I was tuning my guitar, I just sang the lyrics. Take one. That connected me with a lot of Native American tribes who got a hold of me to tell me that the Great White Buffalo lyrics are their spiritual heritage with the relationship with God's miraculous renewable creation as hunters and fishermen and trappers. Well, I was out in South Dakota hunting with the Sioux, and on my way to Montana with the Assiniboine and the Gros Ventre, I had been just given this beautiful war bonnet by one of the elders in the Apache tribe in North Dakota. So my spirit was as aboriginal and as indigenous as it could possibly be, even more than the kid in Detroit shooting rats and squirrels down by the river. Well, we went to a governor's event in South Dakota, and here comes Jerry with Chief. This is Chief between my legs. And he put on a buffalo demonstration where he rode the buffalo amongst the audience in this VFW hall. And Chief's whipping his head and snot's flying, and I did everything I could to catch some Chief snot. I'd already hunted the buffalo. I'd already revered and prayed for the buffalo. I had shared the buffalo with the native peoples, and I had eaten the flesh and taken his spirit into my belly and into my soul. Well, Jerry was a big fan of the Great White Buffalo song, so we met afterwards, and I said, where did you get this buffalo, and how did you teach him to not kill you? Well, Jerry had a great story that he found this calf on a buffalo ranch, and he raised it from birth. And he carried it every day, so there was a bond. Long story short, and boy, believe me, I could keep you here for 3 hours just with this Chief story. Eventually, I said, I would love to ride Chief, and Jerry went, I don't think so. Chief will gore you and stomp you to death. And I said, well, let's try. He brought him out to Michigan, and I slowly but surely got closer and closer to Chief, and it took many, many days, many, many hours and many, many days. And finally, Chief accepted me. And I was able to get on him and ride across the snow-covered swamps of Michigan. And then on stage, I think it was 50 or 60 concerts, I rode Chief out on the stage with my Birdland feeding back, and the drums and the lights and the noise and the intensity of the audience going berserk. And all Chief did was go, "Is that all you got, white boy? Let's get it on." And I rode him back and forth. And I'll tell you, I'm sure I'm conveying it as imprinting as I can to you, but I'm sorry, no matter how much you think you understand what it's like to ride a buffalo anywhere, much less as you're starting a concert for 20,000 people. John, I've been to the mountaintop of wildlife connection. I mean, literally, Chief's backbone, my balls were on either side of his backbone. I don't know how much closer you can get.
Ted, you did just ask the rhetorical question. Do you know what it's like to ride a buffalo on stage? Like, as far as I know, I think you're the only musician to ride a buffalo on the stage. I could be wrong. But
and I'll tell you, the look in the people's eyes, they didn't know whether to poop or go blind. They'd go, because they're expecting me to do something, swing out on a rope. I used to wear a loincloth. I'd jump off the amps, shoot flaming arrows. You never know what I might pull out of my ass. But when I came out on that buffalo, people were just like,
oh my God!
Hey,
right?
And there's a majesty to these animals. I mean, they represent. If any animal represents the spirit of America, it is the American bison, and how it was the life source of the native peoples, and how the American government performed one of the worst atrocities in the history of the world, just intentionally destroyed the buffalo herds, and then intentionally destroyed the native people. So it's an emotional, exciting, dramatic experience, but it also represents some of the best, and unfortunately, the worst of the worst. And as a final statement, there are more buffalo in America today running free and on private ranches than there's been in over 150 years. So the buffalo is not endangered. They are as strong and healthy and prolific as they can possibly be now that the humans have taken over so much of the habitat, but they're thriving, and I think people are learning to revere them and understand them better, and I'm honored and humbled beyond words that Chief accepted me without sticking that horn through my chest.
Well, I wanted to also kick off the show with another picture that I found to be quite remarkable. This is one that this has not circulated much, but I'm sure you have a great story to explain this. Here we go.
Speaking of buffaloes, I didn't ride that one, but I did hug the hell out of them. That's me and Meatloaf, and that's a great story, John. When the Amboy Dukes were playing all over the Midwest in 1967, 1968, 1969, 70, 71, 72, 73, nonstop, there was a killer rhythm and blues duo named Stoney and Meatloaf. And Stoney is this beautiful red-haired she-male singer that ended up doing background vocals with Bob Seger. And I immediately latched on to their soulfulness. They played the Motown, the Stax Volt, and the Sam and Dave, and they played killer soulful music. And I was first exposed to Meatloaf way back then. So when it came time to record our Free For All album, I was writing songs that I thought Meatloaf would do a killer job singing. So I got a hold of my old buddy. And here's a picture that proves I might have been a skinny son of a bitch, but boy, I was strong, because he weighed over 400 pounds, and I picked his ass up backstage, and I carried him around the room for about 10 minutes. So he's a great man. He's a great talent. And I figure if you're going to hug somebody, you might as well bear hug him.
Yeah. How did you not? I mean, I'm known for being able to really dissect things in terms of physics. How did your back not break? I mean, you're arched. I mean, that is a serious arch, and that is a lot of weight on a very small portion.
Well, I've always been very athletic and very healthy. And back then I was 100% sinew and wiry muscle and piss and vinegar. And I figured when Meatloaf came backstage, I'd give him the appropriate Motor City Madman bear hug. But I got to tell you, I remember one night I picked up Sammy Hagar after a jam session. I had my Birdland in my left hand, and I picked Sammy up by the ass in my right hand, and I carried him out one-handed. Now, I also want to admit that those days are over, Rover. I can't pick up Meatloaf. I did pick up Sammy Hagar here a couple months ago, but it took both arms. So I don't know. I was adrenaline for the first 65 years of my life. In fact, the first 71 and a half years of my life. But I was really strong back then.
Where did this loincloth come from? Like was that homemade, or did you actually buy it?
That's from an elk. I got that from an elk. It's an elk I killed. And again, I play all these songs. I can't separate my dreams from other dreams. I have multiple dreams. I dreamed to race off-road, and I was welcomed by Parnelli Jones and Mickey Thompson. I dreamed of creating big-ass trucks to go through the Michigan blizzard, so I got a hold of these master mechanics. I wanted to play killer guitar, so I practiced and practiced. And I don't know, I guess the fact that my dreams bled into each other. I would always end up writing songs like Loaded for Bear, Living in the Woods, Good-Natured Emma, Tooth, Fang, and Claw, Hibernation, Migration. Certainly ended up with Fred Bear and Geronimo and Me, Spirit of the Buffalo, Great White Buffalo. There's always been a lot of wildlife celebrations in my songs. So one night, it's an ugly story, but it'll make the campfire really good. So 1967, I'm at the Grandy Ballroom. I just killed some rabbits that hunting season, and I had skinned the rabbits, and I tried tanning them with brains, which is an old traditional Indian tanning method. So I tanned these rabbit skins, and I'm getting ready to go on stage, and the MC5 were playing, and the Scott Richardson case, and Dick Wagner and the Frost, and I think Grand Funk Railroad and Brownsville Station were there. So I got these rabbit skins, and I went, motherfucker, I'm going to take these rabbit skins, I'm going to take my clothes off, and I'm going to get my shoelaces, I'm going to wrap those rabbit skins on the front and the back, and there was nothing holding me up in between them. And I went out on stage with these rabbit skins, and again, it seemed to work. If you're going to play a song called Loaded for Bear or Tooth, Fang, and Claw, it seems like a loincloth made sense. So eventually I actually got a real loincloth so that my balls wouldn't get aired out so regularly. And it seemed to work. It seemed to make perfect sense. If you're going to play Ted Nugent music, I suppose you ought to dress like the original caveman. So that's the story, and I'm sticking with it.
There you go. All right. Well, we have our first viewer who's zooming on in with us. I believe we have Kelly from Georgia, I believe. Kelly, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. We have Kelly and Ron. My husband is with us.
Hello, Kelly. What's your husband's name?
Ron.
Hi, Kelly and Ron. Nice to see you.
Okay, so Ted, we are loving you. We are loving you and Shemaine. We're loving everything you're doing. And so I have anyway, we love you. You want me to share a little story?
I do. Let's see here.
I want to hear
well, whereabouts in Georgia are you? Because John's in Georgia, too.
I know. Right. So we're in Jefferson, Georgia. So we're close to Athens. But I grew up in Tucker, Georgia. And so I graduated high school in 1982. And I believe you were living in Stone Mountain in that time period. Was it Charlton or I forget the name of the subdivision, but I think that's the house that you had the mold, right?
No, that was back up in Michigan, but Derek St. Holmes lived outside of Atlanta for a long time.
Well, and
at Norris Lake.
At Norris Lake. And whenever we first got married in 91, we moved to Gainesville, Georgia, up on Lake Lanier. And Derek actually performed in this little pub there. And so we got to see him in this cute little place. And it was so awesome, wasn't it, Ron?
He did Red House. I love bluesy. I love blues. But Red House is what I remember him doing, the Jimi Hendrix song. But
well, Ron and Kelly, as I've stated so many times, thousands of times, my career is so powerful and makes me so happy because of the caliber of musicians that I've been surrounded with. And Derek St. Holmes represent that. He's a Detroit guy who is one of the greatest guitar players in the world, completely underrated. That he's not in the top 100 list of guitar players is proof that they're not paying attention. And as a vocalist and a songwriter and just a bluesy, soulful guy, Derek is the guy. Anybody who ever gets a chance to see Derek St. Holmes should go and witness what this guy can do, because he's a monster guitar player. He just stinks of Motown soul, and there's nothing this guy can't do musically.
Yeah, we actually went and saw him the next night. So we saw him 2 nights in a row. But awesome. And you mentioned Stevie Ray Vaughan earlier. Huge fan. Saw him in the Fox in Atlanta back in 86, New Year's Eve. Lonnie Mack was on there with him. But big Billy Gibbons fan. We'll be watching next Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday we'll continue that celebration. Well, thanks, Ron and Kelly. I appreciate that a lot, man. Have a great summer, and keep the spirit positive during these crazy times. I know you will.
Yes,
Absolutely.
we will. Thank you, Ted.
Absolutely.
We love you.
Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you guys so much.
Hello for you.
So Ted, I got another photo for you that I think is going to bring. Now, this is a photo that your manager sent. Said that not a lot of people have seen this, but a lot of people have seen you do this. This is now this particular photo. Why is this one so special?
Well, I don't know. I guess because there's so many guitar players that shoot flaming arrows into Saddam Hussein effigies on stage. That was with the damn Yankees. And again, I suppose I could just play music. I suppose I could just express my wild side and my sincere side and my emotional side and my patriotic side, all the sides of a human experience, just in song. But John, that's not quite enough for me. So I love my bow and arrow. You know that we talk about the Spirit Campfire and the physics of spirituality with attitude. Well, yeah. There's a lot of things that facilitate and conduct the electricity of the physics of spirituality. But along with guitar playing, I would like to think that the mystical flight of the arrow, when you become one with the path of your arrow, and I've said this before and I'm repeating it forever, that you can put your heart and soul into becoming and controlling and optimizing the path of your life. So this is on stage with the damn Yankees, probably right at the end of a song called Don't Tread on Me, where we had a Saddam Hussein and a couple of other bad guys. We had effigies of them, and we put them up on stage. And at the end of the song, the band's going berserk. Tommy Shaw, Michael Cardelloni, and Jack Blades. And I would shoot a flaming arrow into the effigy of my choice that night. And it's a visual between riding buffaloes, carrying meatloaf around like a box lunch, and shooting flaming arrows. John, I think I might be a little unique. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. There are a lot of rock stars who've done that. And I love when I say rock star, you're like, rock star? What's a rock star? I've never
somebody just asked me, did I know I was going to be a rock star? And I think you saw the response. I never thought in terms of rock star or stars or celebrity or platinum albums or, when you first started out, and what Ron and Kelly had mentioned, they saw Stevie Ray Vaughan with Lonnie Mack, because Lonnie Mack was a huge inspiration, and everybody should go find Lonnie Mack music. Wham! And Susie Q, that inspired Billy Gibbons and Stevie Ray Vaughan and me and Joe Perry. It inspired and Derek St. Holmes. But what I end up doing is taking the energy and the fire, both literally and figuratively, of my love for the music and my love for other things. And as a visual, come on, a flaming arrow during a rock and roll concert makes perfect sense to me.
It does. When you say, what's interesting is when you say, like, did you think you were going to be a rock star? And you say, your response is, I'm not a rock star. No, I wasn't thinking about it like that. Look, by definition, a rock star is someone who can, it's like literally in the dictionary, it says 1, ride a buffalo onto stage, 2, shoot flaming arrows. That's the definition. Like,
I'm the only one. Then I'm the only rock star in the world. Hey, John, Kelly and Rod had mentioned say hi to Shemaine. I actually have Shemaine nearby here. And as I started off the show, in fact, I want her with me right here.
Hi, Shemaine.
Hi, how are you?
That's why my arrows are flaming.
By the way, Ted, you know where you would be without Shemaine?
Probably riding buffaloes. Yeah, lost.
Riding buffaloes like in a prairie somewhere. No one would know about it.
And still wearing the loincloth, right?
Well, what I wanted to do, I wanted to bring Shemaine on because people are always asking about Shemaine on Facebook and everywhere I go. They asked about her at the feed mill this morning. And she has got a book that I didn't plan this tonight, John, but I think when I started out, you know, I watch the news and it hurts. I watch what's going on in our country and it hurts. And we haven't delved into it much because there's enough hurt and enough angst and enough friction out there that we need to monitor it, because unless you monitor it and identify ways to reduce and eliminate the negativity, then the positivity doesn't have a chance. And Shemaine wrote this killer book that people come to our website and our Facebook, and it says 4 minutes a day, and a lot of people go, oh, how can you accomplish anything in 4 minutes? You can breathe easy for 4 minutes. Well, I'll let Shemaine tell you, because she's worked with so many people, and it's better than my loincloth.
Yeah, you're the smart one here.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Thank you, honey, for having me.
Well, thanks for making this happen. First of all, we wouldn't have a microphone or a camera if it weren't for you.
This is true.
She's my technical goddess. But tell the people what you communicate with every day, how just a quick reminder of prioritization can literally bring eternal happiness, literally.
I did hear your previous guest, because I'm always standing by making sure that there's no technical problems for him. But she talked about the house that we had that was contaminated with black mold. And actually, this is the reason I wrote this book, 4 Minutes to Happy, because I got sick and almost died. I was diagnosed with having pre-emphysema, and Ted and I both had 4 different types of mold in our bloodstream, and our son Rocco had severe asthma from toxic mold exposure. So you look at that and you think, wow, how could anything good come of this? Well, I put everything I learned into this book, and it's not just about mold, but it's about, I've been a fitness instructor for 40 years, since 1980. And I know everybody, every woman out there, and guys too, want to know how to lose weight and stay in shape, especially as we age. And trust me, I mean, I have my fair share of junk food, don't I?
Not your fair share. She'll have a cookie once a week.
And then I'll go, dang it, I shouldn't have done that. But no, what I do is I put all my secrets here, and I've been able to maintain my weight, haven't I?
She is so gorgeous. It's just insane.
Tess, there are a lot of things that you are, but you clearly you're a little bit out of your league, and I mean that with all due respect. You're a beautiful human being, but not that beautiful.
Not that beautiful.
Are you talking about me?
I'm talking about you. Like, there are a lot of things you do.
Yeah, no, is that me?
But
Shemaine has got a simple routine, and it's that higher level of awareness that you and I talk about, John. It's the Zen, it's the samurai. But there's a bunch of simple procedures, and I would like to dedicate one of our campfires to identifying some of the self-inflicted health curses that have become standard operating procedures in so many American families, and their kids are sniffling and they're getting obese by the time they're 3 or 4 or 5 years old. And it's about that radar, that parenting and self-awareness of what actions have what results, and Shemaine's nailed it.
Well, just in case you haven't noticed that, we do have a pandemic in the United States, and that we do have an overweight problem, and 50% of our citizens are overweight and or obese, and we're setting our kids up for a lifetime of health problems, and especially with COVID. We've got to make sure we stay. It's the one thing that we can all do. We might not be able to control what's going on in the government. We can. In November, we can voice our opinion, but we can talk about things that we can do in just 4 minutes a day in the pockets of our time to start changing our lives and our health for the better with little things like going out, going for a walk, breathing, meditating, replacing some of the junk food in
conscientious diet. Conscientious diet would be the best place to start.
Shemaine, what's the name of the book again? I got a lot of people in the comment section saying, what's the name? How can I buy it?
It's called 4 Minutes to Happy, and it's available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. And if you'd like me to autograph it, you can go to Old West Antiques at yahoo.com, and I will autograph a copy for you. And I have a new show, if I could plug my new show.
Sure.
It comes out, it's called Simply Shemaine. It comes out every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern on my Facebook watch. So go to Shemaine Nugent. It's the one with the blue check on Facebook. And Ted and I oftentimes will be there corresponding with people as their comments come in.
That's awesome.
Great communication.
I think it's amazing. You know, one thing that I hope comes out of this, COVID mess is the return of the good old fashioned American dinner. When I grew up, Streetlight came on, you came home, and all the kids ate dinner with their families.
Yeah.
And when I tell you, I lived in the same house for the first 26 years of my life. We lived, in Vienna, Virginia. My dad worked for the government. My mom was running the nursing program at George Mason University. Everybody converged back at the dinner table at the same time. We all swapped stories, and it was our campfire, and it was our time to heal, to mend, to share, to vent, to love. And it seems like the idea of the great American dinner somewhere along the way just lost its value. Now, with COVID, we've all been locked together. I'm hoping that maybe the American dinner can come back, because we do desperately need to spend that quality time together. Like Shemaine, like you're saying, have those minutes together where we can hold each other accountable, where we can hear our frustrations, where we can really love each other in a setting that's consistent every day.
I love that. And you know what? In my book and also on my TV show, I tried to hit 3 points: mind, body, and spirit. Because you could look great in a bikini or Speedo, whichever floats your boat, but if you're not happy inside and you don't have faith for something to lean on and for something to have hope with, then you could be suffering from depression. And a lot of the teens and young people today have that. And in fact, our son Rocco today has started a new online program that you can go to Rocco Moon on Instagram and follow him there. And he's got a lot of information about that. But he has had friends. He's had 3 friends who have committed suicide. And if you can imagine being in your 20s and some of your best friends take their own lives, that has an incredible effect on you. So Rocco's trying to change that, and we all are trying to make America healthy and great again.
Absolutely. Ted, it was awesome. I mean, first of all, everybody needs to buy Shemaine's book. Make sure 4 Minutes to Happy. Go to tednugent.com to, buy Ted's amazing red hat.
There. Is it on there? My book on your page?
I should hope so.
It's on Ted's page.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, and I wanted to bring on a special guest that we had, because there are a lot of people out there who feel like they were dealt a bad hand, the deck is stacked against them, life is really tough, which is all true, and it's absolutely true. But our next guest is somebody who has served our country honorably, who is such an amazing person. And Herbert, I want to bring on Dash, because Dash is part of the Killcliff family, and Dash's backstory, when you hear about where Dash came from, Ted and Shemaine, I honestly, this is like one of those incredible stories that's just a great American tale of perseverance. Dash, are you with us now?
Here, can you guys hear me?
I can hear
Dash,
you.
welcome, brother.
So,
Guys.
first of all, Dash, what's your full name?
So my full name is Dash Dong Wong.
Dash Dong Wong. Now, Dash doesn't look, I'm not at all judging names. I'm just saying someone who looks like you doesn't typically have that name. Tell us your backstory, because your backstory is so incredible and so inspirational. Ted has never met you. Ted's audience has never met you. I've had the great pleasure of spending time with you and having a campfire with you in Park City. Tell everybody about your incredible story.
Oh, well, first of all, it's an honor to be here. Ted, huge fan, and thanks again for having me. And well, my story starts off, I was born and raised in Hawaii. My mom and dad left the hospital and wanted nothing to do with me, so I got nicknamed Dash because I had a one line through my birth certificate. And when they found my mom they got a hold of my mom, and she ended up taking custody of me, so she kept the name, and that's how my name stuck. So I guess my maiden name, is that how it goes? But it was Dash Robert Hartman was my actual birth given name after my mom named me. And but that was a rough upbringing. My mom was heavy drugs, prostitution. I was raised homeless pretty much till I was 12, and then I got picked up by Child Protective Services and put in foster care and bounced around there for about a year. And I got adopted at 13 by an Asian family, so hence the name Dong Wong. And what a blessing that was, because man, I didn't go to school, I didn't know anything. I knew how to read, I knew some basic math. I was selling lays in downtown Waikiki. I'd go to the cemetery, I'd work the cemetery with the groundskeeper, and he allowed me to pick flowers off the trees, not the graves, the trees. And I'd put together plumeria lays and sell it to the tourists down in Waikiki and make $5 a lay. That's kind of how I got by. When I got adopted, it was a huge blessing because my adopted parents, the Wong family, were strict on academics and school and extracurricular activities. And I ended up graduating high school with the full ride to getting ready to go to the Air Force Academy. I was in Air Force JROTC at 3.9 GPA, and everything was rocking. It was good to go. But my best friend was like, "I want to be a Navy SEAL," and I was like, "Well, cool. I mean, let's go do it." So I ended up joining the Navy, and I'm really thankful I did because I got to meet my beautiful wife in California. And that was kind of my long story short to how I got into the military. I served 16 years in the Special Forces programs and was diagnosed with lung cancer in 2017. Had my right lung completely removed, and so that was a doozy, and that led to me being medically retired and working at the Navy SEAL Foundation, and got cross-rated with Hillcliffe, which is the coolest company in the whole world. And then now I live in Colorado, and in February I got COVID virus. So, man, I had quite a doozy. And just on that topic of what you guys were talking about, man, that hit home so profoundly, because we can go through life's experiences of saying why me or why is this happening, and what did I do to deserve all this? But in all my experience and everything that I've been through, I always wondered what was next and how I could shine a positive light on what I was going through, whether it be cancer or the virus or being homeless or any of those. I never looked down on my life. I always looked to spread a light. So if it was a virus, I was sharing all the symptoms that I had and I was being positive, or if it was cancer, I was sharing the treatments that I was going through and the type of procedures I was going through. And man, so I kind of just ended up where I'm at now, and I get to hang out with Ted every Monday, which is awesome.
So let me tell you, Dash, if I may, I have a funny feeling that I'm about to speak for all the best Americans and all the best people in the world. You are the man in the arena, and I will never, ever, ever complain about anything ever again in my life. What a wonderful story. I didn't invent the middle finger, but you obviously perfected it. You did a great job. Is your middle finger occasionally just spontaneously catch fire? You are a bad mofo. I get to hang out and train with the Delta Force and the Special Forces guys, and I didn't know that you were one of these superhumans. So now I just felt that the Spirit Campfire, somebody just threw some rocket fuel on it. So thank you for sharing that story. And I know that it struck home with everybody listening and watching right now, because one of the reasons America is in turmoil is because people have been encouraged to complain, encouraged to squawk, encouraged to find fault, encouraged to make excuses, make up excuses, and to enthuse excuses. And Dash, you just proved that when in doubt, you whip it out, and that you will stand and you will fall in that arena and get yourself back up. What a great story that defines the Spirit Campfire, especially the physics of spirituality with attitude. Dash, I salute you, my friend. God bless you.
God bless you guys. Thanks so much for having me. And yeah, I love everything you guys do. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Ted, you get this. Literally, we have thousands and thousands of people watching. We have thousands and thousands of comments, and everyone's like, go Dash. Dash, thanks for your service. Dash, you're amazing. Dash. No, they didn't know Dash until now, but guess what? There are a lot of Dashes out in the world that somehow had a bad hand dealt to them, and they rose above it. And I ask you this, Dash, and I mean this in all sincerity. What do you think separates you from someone who doesn't get out of a situation that wasn't nearly as bad? How were you able to do it?
You had unlimited examples of making excuses, and you didn't make excuses. Yes, Dash, share us where that beast in your belly, how did it surface instead of the crybaby and the squawker?
You know, I can sum it up pretty simply, but it's also pretty complicated to a lot. But it's the power of the Holy Spirit and Jesus Christ. And I always refer back to what He's done for all of us, and how He stood up in front of adversity, how He stood up in front of all the people that hated Him, and He never did complain, not once. And He always tried to shine the light, always tried to be a positive example to everyone that He surrounded. And even when the people didn't like Him, He never just dusted His shoulders off and kept walking, kept moving forward. And I looked at Him as my prime example. I never had a dad, so now I have a father that I always look up to, and that's kind of my cornerstone that I live by.
Well, good for you. You represent a lot of people around the world that, sometimes you give the world the best you got and you get kicked in the teeth. And you've proven what I've always said to everybody. You give the world the best you got anyway, because tomorrow's another day and it's another chance to give it your best. So God bless you for that. I had no idea. You're a great, great man. You're a great, great human being. You're a great, great American, man. You give us a lot of encouragement, a lot of hope. God bless you.
Yeah. It's simply amazing. All right, Dash, go. If you can go back, there are a lot of people who are asking questions online. Dash has been helping us behind the scenes. So I just wanted to share Dash's story, and because I feel so blessed to have met him. And Ted, one thing that we hear about Dash, Dash is a Christian, and Dash, has a religion. And what frustrates me a little bit, especially in these times, are people who try to put down religion, whatever that religion is. Look, if you have a set of morals that you obey, I firmly believe, I was born and raised Catholic. I firmly believe there is no one right religion, but there's a right way to live. There's love thy neighbor. Love the people who don't necessarily agree with you. Love your enemy. That idea is one that is sewn into every religion. And we've lost touch of respecting religion and honoring those really core principles that are in every religion. That love, and when you hear Dash's story, the number of times that I can honestly say, I don't think I'm that strong of a person. I don't think I'm as strong as Dash. The number of times you can tap out and say, enough, life is just too hard. That's what most people do, but not Dash. And Dash could have just said, I graduated high school, I'm super smart, I'm going to go off and get a job. But what does he do? He serves this country. Like, that's what he chooses. Could have chosen to do anything. Those are the kind of men and women who are defending this incredible country. And it just makes me feel so, when I say feel so small in a way of, God, I need to do more. I try my best, but I feel like I'm not trying hard enough. And I want to think I'm a good person, but I feel like I'm nobody compared to somebody like Dash.
Well, I've always saluted the heroes of the military because it does take a special spirit, a lot of piss and vinegar, a lot of courage. And I think what Dash's story delivers to us here tonight is that he does represent that special guy, that special gal that's willing to make those sacrifices and take those risks and put his life on the line. And I know these guys. I mean, we're going to have Marcus Luttrell, another Navy SEAL. We're going to have him on the show. A great Army Ranger, Gary O'Neill, who wrote a book called American Warrior. He was raised by the Sioux Indians in South Dakota as a bow hunter. So during the Vietnam War, he was able to be a little bit more stealthy and efficient in protecting his fellow Army Rangers. So these are special people. And when I get to spend time with them, whether it's around a campfire or at the firing range, I realize that not only is freedom not free, but it comes at a great, great cost. So once again, thanks for sharing that story, Dash. That's a very important element to our Spirit Campfire.
Yeah, it really is. It's unbelievable. I'm not. I don't want to feel like we're constantly plugging products, but I want to make sure that everybody knows Charmaine's book, 4 Minutes to Happy, is incredible. You got to check. Like, there's going to be a common theme on the things that I'm telling you. Look, go check this out. Positive energy. Positive energy. You need more positive energy in your life. We don't need to be divided. We can be united through love and happiness. The idea of the Spirit Campfire, this shirt, we have mugs, we have all kinds of things. Make sure you go check it out at thespiritcampfire.com.
Awesome. There we go.
Ted has an incredible, not only catalog there, but he's also got a special red hat with a slogan on it that I think most people will enjoy. Make sure you go to tednugent.com. Ted, I wanted to try to wrap things up on Dash. Dash, I have another picture that I needed to get a story from you about. And this is one that I've not seen in a while. This particular picture. Tell us about this.
Once I discovered the mighty Gibson Birdland, you could see there's a little spirit and a little attitude in my eyeballs there. I was so engulfed, so immersed, so breaststroking through the whitewater rapids of my black musical heroes. Everybody, again, Chuck Berry and Bo Diddley and Little Richard and Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters and B.B. King and Freddie King and Albert King and Mose Allison and the Motown Funk Brothers and James Brown and Wilson Pickett and Sam and Dave, that there was a real fire in the musicianship that I was surrounded with. So when I figured out the Gibson Birdland had this incredible voice and sonic capability, I've used the term out of body. That was a 1968 Gibson Birdland, number 7, by the way. And it just literally owned me. I'd get on stage and start these licks, whether it's Great White Buffalo or Journey to the Center of the Mind or Stranglehold or Motor City Madhouse or Dog Eat Dog, all these songs. And I don't play the music. I am the music. I literally, and my bandmates too, Cliff Davies and Rob Grange and Derek St. Holmes, and I could list the 100 musicians that I've been honored to collaborate with. But we became a single musical force to reckon with. And you can see it because there's never going to be a photo of me performing where I look calm, where I look subdued. You can't play my music subdued. So that picture pretty much says it all. I think that was 1977. I don't remember the exact gig, but I'm the only guy who shoots his own stage clothes. Those were elk gauntlets on my arm, and I had boots that were made out of elk skin and pheasant feathers. And that necklace, I actually shot that necklace myself. That's wild boar and bear claws. So I had I was a samurai spirit musical. I don't know, a lightning bolt, I suppose. Now, by the way, I still am.
You are. And your eyes, you like mentioned, you're like, oh, my eyes are a little crazy. I mean, you look at those eyes. I mean, you literally did say, and I'll play back the tape. You said little crazy. And one thing that I've learned about Ted Nugent is nothing is little.
Yeah,
nothing is little about Ted Nugent. These eyes. Now, this is a recurring theme in almost every photo of you on stage. Like, what happens to you? What happens to your spirit when you're on stage? Because your eyes are about to bug out of your head. They look like you are being possessed in a good way.
Well, I think my musical licks virtually represent my heartbeat, my mindset, my dreams, my emotions, and let's be perfectly honest with you. All those ingredients are really important for the human experience, but one of the most powerful driving forces was sex. I mean, I figured that every lick I played was like animal breeding soundtrack. And when you're up close and personal, swapping sweat with tens of thousands of people every night, you really believe you're so one with them. And you got to admit that rock and roll, you just saw Mrs. Nugent, rock and roll just happens to attract the most gorgeous, sexiest, dangerous women that ever walked the planet. And so if I look like I'm out of control, it might be because I'm on the borderline of being out of control.
Right.
In a beautiful way.
That's right. Now, speaking about Mrs. Nugent, you do understand that the positive energy that she exudes, the incredible book that she wrote, you know, like you are, more than likely, you're not where you are today without some serious help from a human being that is the better half of Ted Nugent.
Well, we use the term soulmate. Shemaine is my soulmate. We've been married now for 31 years. Our son Rocco will turn 30 next month, and we're going to one way or another wrangle him around a campfire. But Shemaine and I have produced the Ted Nugent Spirit of the Wild TV show, originally on public television, and now for the last 29 years on Outdoor Channel. And it's been one of the highest rated shows ever, and it's because of Shemaine. It's because she has an effervescence, and it could possibly because of Joe and Tracy too. And Joe and Tracy are calling from the wilds of Arizona. Joe, Tracy, how are you?
Hi, Ted. How are you, brother?
See, I recognize them right away, John. These are my hunting buddies. These are some backstrap spirit blood brothers. And Tracy and Joe have actually shared real campfires with me. And Joe, go ahead and tell the world what the hell a Ted Nugent campfire feels like.
Oh my good God. Can you even stand it? It's so amazing. This actually is the scimitar, Ted, that I got with you that year on your birthday. I mounted it up. I do taxidermy. And I've been working on it. I did a pedestal mount, but sharing a Spirit Wild campfire, just coming to the ranch is just unreal. And I've had the extreme privilege, so is Tracy, to spend time with you on a one-on-one. And it's a life-changing experience. Your soul is cleansed, and you're just a great American person. You're a great person. We're blessed to know you and have you in our lives.
Well, thank you for that, guys. We sure love having you guys. And these guys, John, represent just a super wonderful, loving, caring, cognizant, engaged human beings that join Shemaine and I on our campfires here at Spirit Wild Ranch. We do it around the country at different hunting camps, but now we're doing it at home because we love our home, and we feel that when we welcome people like Joe and Tracy in, that they're family. They come into our home, and I play the guitar, and we eat great food and have a roaring fire and play with Happy and Sadie and Coco and meet Joe and Trace. How about the caliber of people? You've been doing this for a number of years with us.
Yeah.
Am I not mistaken? You've been around. Are the best people that ever lived at our campfires, or what?
So Ted, I think what it boils down to, you are correct. You're the catalyst. You're the glue that sets this up, because people like us gravitate to that. We see that you're really a truth, logic, and common sense individual, and that what you do is just be you. You love your country, you love your family, you love God, you just love life, but also you love the land, you love the game, you love bow hunting, and that has a striking core. That is in our DNA. That is not something that you just acquire. It's in your DNA. You have it. And what you do is you're the catalyst, you're the glue. And we're so grateful that you do that you demonstrate how to walk and act every single day. And Shemaine does too. Eat healthy. Watch what Mr. Hand puts in Mr. Mouth. Just like you talk about all the time. We laugh about it, you and I, but it's the truth. It's just a common sense approach to everyday life. And also, Ted, you also bring to the table that aim small, miss small dynamic, which bow hunting brings. What you're doing is you're taking your thoughts and feelings in 3D and sending them downrange. It's an extreme focus, and that's what you do. Bow hunting, I think you would agree with me, Ted, brings on the coping mechanisms of success and failure and how to deal with that. How to adjust. You don't always make the shot. There's been many times you and I have spoken, you didn't get shots for days or weeks. You've been skunked for 30 days. So how do you cope with that? Keep going, keep trying attitude. And that's what that does. Hunting and the outdoor lifestyle brings that to the table. And you are the ambassador of that. You really are.
Well, thank you, Joe. John, you can tell that I wanted to call this the Spirit Campfire. And you listen to John and his beautiful wife, Tracy, and their wonderful family. And what he's talking about is not just how to be a good bow hunter and get sacred venison for the family, but it's how you conduct your life, whether you're a welder, and you guys are landscapers, right?
Right.
You have a landscaping outfit.
Very hard lifestyle in Arizona. It's 100. It was 110 today. It's just, and no rain and lots of fires right now. So when you deal with, we're in the harshest environment on the planet, and what we're doing here in Arizona is asking plants that are not native and indigenous to live here. And then the people are like, well, we want it to look green. Well, we don't live like that. We can get that to work, but it's not Michigan where it rains a lot, or New Jersey or back east where you get a lot of water. We don't get a lot of water at all. 3 inches a year, maybe.
Well, John, I'm so glad that you guys joined us. Are you enjoying this new? John and I put this campfire together. It's a great communication electronically, don't you think?
I'm going to tell you right now, it feels like I'm at your kitchen table right there, right now again, and I can't wait to see you again this year. We're planning on coming back. We're not missing out on the Spirit of the Wild blood brother bloodbath. Aim small, miss small. Heck no. I'll eat top ramen and hot dogs to come back to you.
Well, God bless you guys. I love you guys. You give all our love to your family. And John, I'm so glad that they called, because they represent the people I hang with. If there's positive energy from Ted Nugent, it's because of the people I hang out with. So God bless you guys. Great seeing you again.
Yeah, it's so great,
good
guys.
to see you, Ted.
I'll see you in December.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I wanted to wrap up the show tonight. Ted, do you have any parting thoughts? I've got an interesting observation for you.
Well, yeah, it's not really parting shots. It's a transitional thoughts, because there's always going to be a wonderful day tomorrow. We're going to do this again on Thursday, hopefully with Billy Gibbons, if we can wrangle the logistics. But yeah, I've got a lot of military charities that we're working with right now, and I want people to visit a couple of websites. We've got that Special Forces that we're going to get Dash involved with. It's a special fundraiser for the Special Forces and those that didn't make it home. But I'd like people to visit militarywarriors.org, militarywarriors.org. And we're raising money for a great family where the dad was paralyzed by that horrific shooting at the church here in Texas years ago. And and my blood brother who stopped that carnage was Stephen Wolford. And these are the kind of people that I hang out with that are not afraid to rush into that burning building. And go to militarywarriors.org, and we're building custom homes for those who have sacrificed so much. And there's what we should do, John, is earmark a moment every time we have a Spirit Campfire, and there's so many worthy charities. And if somebody can just send $10, you send $5. Maybe if you can't right now, maybe tell your buddies, maybe put a pool together and send 20 amongst you and your friends. militarywarriors.org, and you can click on a link where we're raising money for this wonderful guy that, in fact, George Strait, the great country god George Strait, has autographed a custom guitar, and we're going to have a fundraiser for this family. And I just want people to visit militarywarriors.org to help Chris and Colby Workman get past this tragedy.
Yeah, I think it's an incredible charity, incredible cause. I wanted to wrap up tonight just with one thought that I would ask people. I hope everybody is loving this Spirit Campfire as much as we are, because this is such a break and such a gathering of positive energy. You see, like on our comment thread, I mean, everybody can go back and look at the comments around this campfire. There are hardly any trolls out there. Like, it's nothing but positive energy. And, for those of us who are not part of this younger generation, if you've got a son or a daughter or a niece or a nephew or a friend or a neighbor, try to have them join this campfire to see what positive energy is all about. We're not getting bogged down in politics. We're not preaching about what you should believe. We're saying, listen, positive energy begets positive energy, and let people see what civil, positive people are like. America is the greatest land in the world ever in the history of humanity. Agreed. Because of this. Because we're sitting around and having an honest exchange of ideas. We're so blessed to be with Ted Nugent. And regardless of what people have heard in the press and over the years, Ted Nugent is such a ridiculously generous, loving human being. I want a new audience and a new generation to see this, to discover his music, to see, like, look, he's incredibly authentic. He's not going to tell you this is the only way to believe. He's going to tell you, sit around a campfire and let's share ideas and be positive. Yep. So everyone, thank you so much, Dash. Thank you so much to Shemaine. Please go buy her book. It's incredible. Ted, as always, thank you so much. I feel so honored to just share ideas with you and to legitimately be able to call you my friend. You told me if you want to cheer up, just hang around the people I hang around with. And that's what's happened with this campfire.
Well, thank you, John. Thank you, everybody out there. And I'll see you at my Facebook. We have a continuing campfire there. And Joe and Tracy and everybody out there, have a wonderful, wonderful night. And I'll see everybody on Thursday, hopefully with Billy G, Reverend Billy G, on Thursday at the campfire.
Billy G's going to be there Thursday. God bless you all.
Thanks, guys. Godspeed. Uncle Ted, never over, never out.
Kill Cliff, the clean energy drink. Now with 100% more winning. Go to killcliff.com.
Don't try if you suffer from low self-esteem. If you're used to losing, results may vary. Drink another Kill Cliff. If you haven't peed in 3 hours, drink another Kill Cliff. If you have a bad taste in your mouth, drink another Kill Cliff. If your wife is beating you in an argument, drink another Kill Cliff. If it's just not working yet, drink another Kill Cliff. Kill Cliff, proud sponsors of Uncle Rico, Kenny Powers, Larry David, Uncle Eddie, Napoleon Dynamite, Pedro LaFonda, McLovin, Baby Yoda, and Rainbow Spice.